Hi, if you've ever tried to manifest consciously and not only see the results in your reality of all of your unconscious manifestations, and you've wondered why the things that you want are not showing up yet in your life or in the way that you want them or in the time that you want them, then this video here is for you. We're gonna look into why your manifestation might be blocked and how you can, with one very simple method, unlock these blocks. Find them, like locate them, see them, and then shift them in a very simple way, in a very efficient way, and maybe even faster than what you've heard before and what you've known before. So I'm Judith. I'm an ascension coach and I'm a cosmic business mentor, and also I'm a cosmic channel. I'm channeling through different light languages and information from cosmos connecting to the earth, and I'm putting all of that in the center of who you are, and then how you turn the power that you hold inside and your purpose into a successful and profitable business in the New Earth style. So let's dive in. I'll share 2 slides with you in this one here, because first of all, let's have a look. Manifestation overall, what does that look like? You've probably all heard this law of attraction thing. You know that, you hold your vision, you set your vision, you connect to the vision, the result of that, you connect to your version that is walking in the result as if it is already here, including how you feel, all the emotional part, right? Theoretically, you know what that looks like. You're holding on to that for a little while, you connect daily to that until then at a point you let go of it and you just trust that it will come to you and will be manifesting in your reality over time. Some things faster, some things may take a little longer depending on what you're manifesting, right? And how the universe is bringing the orchestration of the changes needed for this desired reality to manifest in your life towards you. And then obviously it is because you need to meet the universe halfway on your side to take the steps and to make the moves to then actually bring it into the manifested reality of your own perception, okay? So I'm sure you've heard of all of that, and I'm sure you're already right in the middle of trying or manifesting. And yet it might be that you find either certain things that are not just coming, some things might be working, some things might not, or the overall process for you is something that still feels a little bit wobbly, a little bit like, okay, I'm not sure where I'm falling off, but as a result, I do see that things are not coming as fast or in the way that I would want, that I'm desiring, that I'm choosing, all right? And the main thing that is blocking this is the programs that run unconsciously. That is also what you might know. So let me quickly share my screen with you, so you get to see what exactly I mean. And then we're gonna dive straight into what I want to share with you, this very efficient method, how you can identify where the block is and then how you can shift it, okay? So here we go. Let's move into the presentation mode, making it easier for you guys to see. Amazing. So the programs that are running subconsciously and unconsciously until you become aware of them, then they are in your conscious awareness, and that means then you can tackle them, then you can shift them, then you can see if that is your truth still anyway, right? But for that to happen, you need to find them. And usually what happens is we are in some level of fear still, no matter how far we've come in our own evolution process, no matter how far we've come in our own journey of growing. In my book Leading with Light, I'm talking about purpose frequency, and also I'm talking about this, how the journey of your own evolution, when we start, right, you will look back a lot to understand your trauma, to understand your past of this life, of past lives, of your ancestors, right? All of the stuff, you look back a lot to heal and to understand and to grow from that. But there will be a point where, that I'm calling in the book also, is like a turning point, like a saddle. If the curve was backwards until here, then at some point it turns more with your vision and your view more to the future. And that means from that point onwards, the whole evolution and growth journey will be more about dancing with fear and mastering your levels of fear that will come up with each next step of evolution that you're moving through along your growth journey. And you may already know that each of these steps is directly connected to your business. Usually, your business is a great trigger of that next level of fear when you are on the journey of growing and scaling your business, all right? Bringing in 3K months continuously has a different vibration compared to 8K months, compared to 12K month, compared to 16K month, compared to 20, and so on and so forth. Okay, and that is not only money. It is the whole scope of the business evolution and growth that comes with that. And with that also, I'm not talking only about the money. I'm not talking about if you're onboarding people or you're hiring a VA or, team in whichever way. That is another dimension. But I also mean, and that is the main core where I'm circling back now to the blocks, is the version of you that is showing up and that is visible online when you're marketing online, which I'm supposed most of you who watch this are doing one way or the other. And that is where the majority of your fears get triggered, because then we're back to, is this feeling safe? Can I trust this? Am I allowed to? Am I worthy? Am I enough? Is it okay to want bigger? Is it okay to be seen in a bigger way, in a bolder way? And then we're back at speaking your truth, owning who you are, standing with power in your sovereignty, in love, walking your talk, and bringing into action what I'm calling is that your business is an expression of your soul's purpose. And that means the more your business grows and you want the manifestations for your life and for your business to come into your reality and the perception of reality that you choose, and frequency-wise then reflect, the more you need to connect to that version of you inside, and this needs to grow. And then we're back at the levels of fear, because what will you be confronted with every time you keep moving? Sometimes even with every step that you take. It's another level, another perspective, another version of whatever kind of fear there still is. But that is then learning to dance with that and learning to walk in unity. We're moving away from the illusion of separation. And depending on where you are in your own evolution process, you might find yourself dancing and sometimes falling back a little bit, then having the first foot already in that state and the vibration and the frequency of sacred union within you. That is the male and the female energy together. When it's no longer, oh, here's one and here's the other one, and somehow they have to find balance, but it is at a point that is still in duality and separation. That is logically understanding both is there, but it is still living from the perspective of separation. But we're moving, and you might have already started to move also to this where both are already together, and it is in dancing and staying in the balance and handling and navigating what comes along the way from the point of unity and union or oneness, however you want to call that. And that is also when fear will show up again. Fear per se is not bad. It's a great emotion that we have. It has a function that we can feel it. And it's very supportive and helpful when you learn to navigate it. And that is here in a quick overview, these levels, right? This is a little bit corresponding to the levels of consciousness. So, right, you will move to this, it happens to me, is a lower level of consciousness in a lower vibration. This is where it's all like, it feels so hard, but then I need to push harder, okay? Then here you're back, you're like up one level in consciousness, you're in the, I make it happen. This is like when you're the doer, the action taker, and you want to make it happen all of the time through pushing through. That is overdoing in your masculinity, in your masculine energy. That is a lot of times where people fall off the manifestation because they miss the point of trusting and letting go what I just said in the beginning, right? That is then the balancing of the female part is missing because you're trying to manifest and make it happen 99.9% through the masculine energy. It just won't happen. And then this is what I just talked about here in this next upper, like third level of consciousness. That is, it happens through me. You're already there, you understood this, and you're already, your body physically also is tapping more into these lighter realms of energy. Your consciousness has widened, your awareness has shifted and opened up by multiple times. And then there is this element of I fear my power. I fear all of a sudden my greatness, my power, the strength that I have. Oh my goodness, how impactful am I? And then all the stuff comes up with that, oh, but am I allowed to? But is it safe? Can I? Should I? What will other people think? Right? And that is what brings me to how I started to, how can you figure out and find in a more efficient way where you might fall off in the way that you manifest or what you want to manifest. And that comes to how is this packaged if you want? How can you find the fear level? Obviously, you can go inside and ask, okay, where do I feel fear? You can come through the emotion side. That's one way. But today I want to focus on something else. I want to focus on your identity level, and that is where it comes down to your belief system. And a very efficient way that I found that makes it very fast, even if you're working with yourself, but you can also see if you are working with people, go and try and test that with other people. It's beautiful also to guide somebody else through that. It's simple, and yeah, it's very efficient, and you can also use that for your own process, okay? And what I mean is, let's move over here, working with your chakras and using the beliefs that you find and then testing them through all of your chakras. And I'll tell you in a second a few things more what I exactly mean by that. I start with an example. So the last thing that I used this for myself was just a few days back when I was figuring out and learning around beliefs that I was still holding around money. And there was one that I found, that money is not welcome, right? Money is not welcome. Like that was already like step 2 or 3 in the process, where there was another belief around money. And then I had shifted this. And while I was then asking myself, like, okay, what is the new belief? Like one thing that was given to me was money is welcome. And then I checked inside to which extent this is my truth. And usually you may know that process, right? You can check with like a belief, a serving or a non-serving one. Inside you can go and test how much is this my truth between 0 and 10, for example, right? Use a scale, whichever one you want, but 0 to 10 is probably a very common one. You go and you check. And then, for example, I went and checked just generally inside, asking my higher self, myself, okay, money is welcome. To what extent is that true to me right here, right now? Where is that between 0 and 10? And the answer I got was quite mixed. I'm like, oh, there's no clear answer coming through. And I was like, okay, what is that? Like, okay, let's check. So what I did is then I went chakra by chakra by chakra, starting with the crown and then all the way down to the root. And the interesting picture that I got then was like all of the upper chakras were like the crown and the third eye and the throat. They were all like, yay, money is so welcome, so good, such a friend, let's welcome you, come on here, let's party, it's so good. Everything was just like, oh my god, excitement, and it's like, yes, positive, no resistance at all. Down at the heart already was a little bit like, oh yeah, you're welcome, you can come, but some resistance. Then I went down to the solar plexus and it was already like, well, I'm not so sure. It was already down at a 7. Then when I went down further, the sacral and the root, they were at a 3 and a 1. So the root basically said, no way, you're not welcome here at all. And you already see from, I think the highest number I got out was like from the third eye was even at an 11, like spontaneously out 11. Yes, come on in here. But the root says, no way. It's a 1 out of 10. And then you see where you have a misalignment in your system energetically on the belief level. And before I'll move into the last part explaining this a little bit more, let's look at the chakras. Overall, I bet you already know what they more or less stand for. And there's way more than what I put on this slide here. If you then move over to which chakra represents organs in your body, or stands for whichever part, physical symptoms that you can notice that will give you an idea on which chakra it is about, so then which topic it is about, right? But for the sake of having this a bit more condensed and aligned to what we're talking about right now, this is what you can understand and have a look at. Let's start at the root, at the bottom. So that is your basic trust, right? Your trust in life overall. So if you don't stand in unshakable trust yet that life overall is good and life overall is safe, you might always have this interference coming in your belief system from your root chakra, like I saw for this very belief, right? Up here, everything was amazing, manifestation, vision, up here, beautiful. But here down there was not trusting. And then the root chakra also is representative of your rhythm of life. And that counts for, from breathing in, breathing out is a rhythm of life. Your pulse, your blood is pumping, is your rhythm of life. But it's also your sympathicus and your parasympathicus. So it's also connected to your nervous system. It's the fight or flight, like the survival, if you want, or the peace, the resting and the action. You need the balance of both. And you already see, it's also connected to that trusting part, and then obviously to being grounded and connected to earth, right? If you want to look at it that way also. Then you have the sacral chakra, very interesting one, very special one. First thing I put is the sex magic, right? You probably know that. That is the creation part of that. But it is the allowing, it's the receiving end. It's the creation part, but it's also the receiving end. And then that's why I also put the polarity. You have the polarity of all things. You always have both ends, the light and the dark, the intaking and the giving, and all of that. Put it to whatever it is. Money also is connected to this, and fear, because that is, the bladder is located in this area more or less as well. And that organ, it has some other representations, but also around money, it is around greediness, and it is, it's an unhealthy relationship in money. If, for example, if you feel bladder pain or bladder infections a lot, might give you one hint into that direction. There's other things around the organs, not for this training here, but it is also connected to fear. If you have fears around money, in whichever direction that is around in this chakra as well. And then another very important part in here is decision making, because it is, think about what kind of processes are happening down there. It's your digestion physically, like on the organ level, and that means that is splitting into different parts. It is splitting and processing and breaking apart. And how can you say that? Like in German, the wording is beautiful with this to explain that. Let me see if I find something equivalent in English. Not exactly. Okay, so let's just explain and describe it. It is, when you make a decision, you decide at the same time for something, but at the same time against something. And that is basically what it's representative of, that by taking the decision, there is a consequence in both ways. And it's about the ability to do this. It also has to do with clarity. And then because of that, there is an intaking and an outtaking. It is an holding on to something and a letting go of something, right? That is also connected to that. So if you feel like you're struggling with these things, there you go. If it's a disconnect in your belief system around that chakra, ask yourself, where's that coming from with regards to these topics? Then we have our solar plexus. That is where our life's purpose and the expression of it, how do we live our purpose and why we came here? How are we in the ability of expressing this and living this? And then also this is again about processing. This chakra is a lot also about processing everything that you perceive and your emotions, like everything that you take in, if you want, from your outer reality, to process information, emotions, whatever there is, right? Then the digestion, not physically, obviously, because the organs are somewhere else in the body, but metaphysically, it is also about digesting and processing. This is where it's connected. And then with that, it is also about conflict solving and worthiness. And you see there is a part of that that has to do with relationships, because it is about how you can interact in the relationship with yourself, but also with others. And the worthiness part is connected into that, in how much you can, or how much you are connected to your self-worth, so that you can also express that, set boundaries, right? That is a topic around this chakra. And then we got our beautiful heart, which apparently is around love and your self-love, the relationship to yourself on that level, your self-healing powers of your body, but also metaphysically. Also then connected to relationship, different layer of that, okay? It's the home of your soul. Your heart, that is the home of your soul, if you want, and it's also the gateway. Your heart is the gateway because it's the home of your soul between the higher realms, the 5D if you want, and then the earthly realms, the 3D. So your heart is the gateway to channel through information, communication, both ways. This is the gateway, okay? That's why we say we need to break your heart enough times until it's open, so the gateway becomes open. And communication and flow and information, all of that becomes easier and more fluid, if you want. And then you got your throat. That is apparently about expression and your voice, but it's also about action taking. Like voicing what you want to do is supportive of or connected to you moving forward and you expressing and then bringing into action your purpose and what you want to do. And it is likewise learning and teaching, right? It's learning and teaching. So it is sending out what you know, but it's also the learning aspect. This is connected to your arms and your hands, this chakra as well. So that means, right, you can form and create with your hands. And this is, you can take, but you can give. It's both elements of that. And then this chakra also is connected to your outer senses, which is your eyes, for example, right? Your nose, that is the outer sensual organs, if you want. So, and then the third eye, obviously, is the third eye, the pineal gland. This carries your wisdom, but also your thinking. So it's both levels, right? You can also have, like the third eye can be wide open as a channel to the higher realms, while here at the same time, the block is in your thinking. And that's what I had yesterday, or 2 days ago, with another belief. It was fine everywhere, but up here. And I was like, oh, where's that coming from? It was complete block in thinking. So in the mindset, if you want, right? And then I cleared that out. But it was easy to find once I navigated through these things, and knowing what these are representative of makes it even easier. That's why I put this on the chart here for you. So you don't just have to listen, but you can see, and it's easier to capture, okay? So, and then the crown obviously is the connection to the universe, it's the enlightenment, it's the light, but also the dark and the duality. I'm not saying it holds the dark if you want, but because it is the connection to the higher realms, you're automatically in that space where, I should have said not duality, but union, you know, where you have the wholeness. That's correct. Well, I correct that later on. But that is what I basically mean, right? Duality is not quite accurate, I'm finding right now. It is rather the union of where we are right now, from the perspective where we are right now. So, and what you now can do when you sit with yourself and you want to tap into your belief system in finding the blocks of your manifestation, what you can quite simply do, if you want, print this chart, if you're not aware of these things anyway, have that at your side, just, you know, like a cheat sheet, you can have that. But sit with yourself, define the topic that you want to check your belief system for. That can be money, but that can be anything else. Can also be your dream relationship, can be your audience growth, can be, I don't know, whatever it is that you want to put focus on. And then ask yourself and see what comes up as the beliefs that are not serving. Ask them to be shown to you. And you can then also, in that stage already, see where is it located. Like, is it an overall belief that is located in you as a whole? Or do you also get like a mixed, unclear kind of response with regards to what degree is that true to me? Also the limiting belief, the unserving one. If that is mixed as well, go through all of your chakras and just test it. Ask each chakra, the belief, and test in the numbers. See where it's resonating most. Obviously, where the highest number comes out in the limiting beliefs, this is where you want to go and bring it back down to 0 in that process, okay? If you want to know how to do that, then just send me a message. I'm assuming that this is not the very first time that you do limiting belief work, but if that happens to be a starting point for you, absolutely comment below or send me a message, and I'm happy to guide you a little bit more. But then you tap into that, you clear it out, you bring it down until it's not true anymore. But then you want to also flip into, okay, what is the new truth? Okay, what is the new truth once the one thing is broken down to zero? And then the new one can be, like in my example, money is welcome. And then you test again, how true is that to me right now overall? And if you get a mixed response, you take it to all of those chakras and you find where you have the lowest responses. And you start working in the other direction then. So for me, I started with my root, understanding, okay, if money is not welcome here, why? And then it gets you the other beliefs that are behind that, if you want. And that is what makes this method, if you want, this way of clearing out so effective, because you're not only clearing one, but also while you're working into the truth of the new and embodying the truth and integrating it at the deepest level. Because you're working through that, you are bringing up onto the surface and into your awareness other, like, side limiting beliefs that are connected to it. And by that, you're also clearing them all out. So when I went through that process, I started out, when I sat a few days ago, with 2 limiting beliefs, just 2. And in the end, by working through all of them, and it didn't take super long, like everything overall took like 2 hours, maybe 1.5 hours, something like that. And in the end, it was overall, let me count that, about 8 to 10 beliefs that were deeply rooted and that I wasn't aware of before, that got cleared out in that time, like completely. And I double checked like the next day, and the next day I tuned in with the new beliefs, seeing if that already had gotten some solidity, if you want, if that was still true to the same extent than the previous day, and it completely stayed, right? And I could already see smaller shifts coming into my reality just within the next 24 hours. Things started to shift, like money was coming in all of a sudden that I didn't expect. So this is really fast, this is super simple, and I hope this is helpful for you. So if you found this helpful, like the video or send me a comment down here. If you've got questions, also same thing, just put a comment underneath this, and I'm happy to share more very soon.